Welcome to Listen with Equiteam. Hi everyone, I'm Liz Daniels and today I am very excited to be joined by Anna Black. Most of you will know Anna from Lindores, which is where we hold our Equiteam Confidence Camps, but there's lots of other things going on at Lindores which I thought we could explore as well. So welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you, Liz. I'm delighted to be here.
Very exciting. Most people know you from just coming through camps and everything else, but we very rarely get to chat about Anna and who you are. So I'd love to know, Anna, how did you become to be so involved in Lindores, and what's your journey to this point?
Oh, goodness. Well, I was born and bred outside Arbroath and was a member of Angus Pony Club as a wee lass, a farmer's daughter. And I suppose I was kind of shaped by my parents and had a lovely upbringing. My dad was a real grafter, a real worker. My mum was a singer. And so I had a great youth and rode ponies and worked a lot. We all had to work on the farm. And I suppose that instilled a big work ethic in my life. And what did we do? We went to school at Dundee High, which wasn't too far away. And then I ended up at university in Edinburgh studying business studies. But I've kind of worked in so many different jobs throughout the years. We didn't really do holidays so much. We would kind of pack holidays with tasks. So whether it was going abroad and working in a banana farm or in a game reserve in South Africa, or whether I was on the back of this potato harvester, which I'm sure that's the reason Dad had 4 kids, we would be picking tatties on Boxing Day. So yeah, I had a great upbringing and actually used to come here on my pony, the Lindores equestrian, with my dad. And I have a memory where I think I saw Frankie, my future mother-in-law. I'm driving a Burgundy car. And so just who would have thought that I would have ended up here living in this beautiful place?
It is amazing. I love that. And you, for those that don't know, without getting too personal, you then met Richard Jr., who is the son of Frankie, and Mr. Black, lovely Mr. Black. I mean, everyone has a soft spot for Mr. Black. And then your journey through Lindores really began, I suppose, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I met Richard when I was on a potato roguing course where we were learning 45 different varieties of potatoes by their leaves and 25 different diseases. That's my hidden talent. And I don't know whether it was his King Edwards I was attracted to or what, but anyway, that was us for life. We were only 17, and so we met very young, and we're quite independent people, and we always said we would do what we wanted to do and not live our lives. So he headed off to Aberdeen to do agriculture. I headed to Edinburgh and studied business studies. He then went away traveling for 6 months. He came home. I went away for a year, working and traveling around the world. Then I ended up in banking. I lived down in London, and we maintained this relationship to the point where we obviously suit each other, very much love each other. And so eventually the sheep couldn't come to London or Edinburgh. And so I would, in 2014, continue working in the bank, but started to help and work on the farm here at Lindores, because Frankie, by 2014, had maybe decided to kind of take the reins and pass on the reins for Lindores cross country.
Yeah, so that's when we first really met. So 10 years ago, which is insane to think that Equiteam Confidence Camp probably turned up at your door as wide-eyed as you were without each other realizing. We were like, yeah, we've got a crazy idea and we want to run a camp, and camps weren't really a thing, up until that point. They were quite a new concept. There was a couple just coming around south, and you were like, brilliant, we'd love to have you, and we kind of said yes, and then we were like, how are we going to make this work? And we it was brilliant.
I remember the very conversation. I was sitting in the office at the farm. There was a red carpet, a really old desk, and um, this girl from Buckinghamshire phoned, and her name was Louise, and was telling me about this concept. And I just was like, okay, I was so excited about it. And it's in the family album, the little snippets of kind of the moments in time of when we kind of, created the space that you needed. And I think that can-do attitude, I think we were all quite excited and just wanted to make it work.
It was so brilliant. And we started off with the bothy, which has been an absolute godsend. And I still think that the bothy, which is a really nice, quite rustic, but just so relaxing indoor space. It's got some sofas, it's got some places to eat, it's got a little kitchen, and most of all the fire, and people come together. So we had the bothy, and we had a toilet in a cow shed. We had no showers, no arena. We had people in tents in a field, and we all just made it work. And it was the most brilliant start to Equiteam Confidence Camps ever, because like you say, that air of excitement was just that there was so much energy about that can-do thing. Or we won't worry if we haven't got X, Y, and Z. We borrowed some jumps from Glenboss.
We did.
Yeah, and we were like, let's just make this happen. So we all kind of were like excited little bunnies, I think, which then led to something else. And you know, the confidence camps took off, and then you have really as a team just invested so much into the facilities at Lindores. I think we had an incident where there was a calf got stuck in the toilet that we used.
I'll never forget that phone call. His phone saying, we've got a bit of a problem. I was like, oh, what is it? Run out of water? No, we've got a calf stuck in the toilet. I mean, absolutely legendary. I couldn't believe my ears. And so coming along to the farm to be greeted by the chaos, it had absolutely destroyed the bathroom. So yeah, that was a very funny moment. And I have to say the calf was fine. No animals were harmed in the process.
Yeah, and that led to the creation of a few other facilities. But now, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. We have, how many jumps do you have on the cross-country course now?
So there's over 160, and they're all profiles and styles to cater for all standards and levels of horses and riders. So from 30 centimeters up to probably 105 would be our biggest fence. So yeah, it's quite an expansive space, and over 85 acres as well. So you've got plenty of zones to train.
To train in, and then the arena, which was just an amazing addition. And then we've got extra stabling, and then showers, and then we've got some more showers, and now you've got a whole new event space, which for those that haven't been to Lindores yet this year, have to go and have a little look in the barley house. It's just, we were there last week with the dressage camps, and it's just the most wonderful space. I know, where do these ideas keep coming from?
I'd say that I've been shaped by my roles in previous careers. So banking, believe it or not, I was in Tesco Bank, and I used to kind of be the product manager, marketing manager for credit cards and for the launch of the new current account. And I don't know if you'll all believe Tesco do actually care about their customers. And there were these values where, so, you know, everything's customer led and treat people how you want to be treated yourself. So that kind of ethos really has kind of continued in my life. And it's, when we first started, it was like, what does the customer want? And it's always listening, always asking, and then doing it. And just the tiny little things. And then it just keeps building. And if you have to keep listening to the market, and it's not just what people are saying on the farm, but also like macro level, what's happening in the industry, what are the new trends, and then just kind of acting on it, you know, speaking to people and solutionizing. And I just love it. Like, I absolutely love working with people and making spaces that people enjoy. And Richard and family, we're super proud of like the farm, and like our biggest asset will be essentially the soil and the land. Like, we are so blessed as a family to live in such a beautiful place. So we have to cherish it and make the most of it. And so that's ultimately with a farming family, you have to, I think, understand that you're never going to sell. You never want to sell. You're going to pass it on to the next generation. And there's this kind of culture within the industry where you pass it on in a better place than you received it. And so we're reinvesting all the time, knowing that actually it's for the benefit of the rural economy, it's benefit for the family, it's benefit for the people who are using the space. And it's an absolute pleasure. And I think it would be rude not to share it. And so I suppose it's that kind of just, I don't know, passion. Richard has it as well. We're quite a good team. He's got fantastic skills in some areas and I've got skills in other, and that's great, but none of it would happen without the support network. So you've got Mr. B, who he carries these values where he just wants people to be happy. And so if you're coming to Lindores and you happen to meet him, he will talk and he'll listen and he'll give people time and he'll help when help is needed. He's a fantastic character. You've got Frankie in the background, who's always there as a safety net in terms of we've got young children. And if we're needing help or a sounding board, she's always there. We've got Suzanne on the farm, so that's Richard's sister. She's a photographer and also a web developer. And you wouldn't know it, but we do a huge amount of collaboration with Suzanne. And from the very beginning, we've actually got 3 businesses. 2 of them have got websites, lindores.co.uk and then lindoresxc.co.uk. So we've got kind of an equestrian business and a kind of accommodation business, but they all require, web development and support. So we've got Suzanne in the background, who's called my tech department. So she's fantastic. And then, of course, we've built the team around us over the years, not just on the payroll, but like with our contractors. So the team we have today, we've got Aaron, who's kind of in the farm doing maintenance, anything from like hot tub checks to herding the sheep, to like lambing, to, oh gosh, he helps with everything. And also the equine. So he'll cut the grass. A huge amount of labour goes into maintaining our facilities so that we're BHS approved training facilities. So he's there outside working every day. He's fantastic. He's been here for about 10 years. We've got Caroline, who's been with us for many years, so she helps with the cleaning. And then we've got Katie, our manager. So she's joined in August 2022, replacing Vicky, and we've added, she's been fantastic at it and has been really helped kind of grow the business in the last year and a half. And we've just had Becky joining the team as her assistant. So we've kind of started off a point where we've got an asset, which is the farm, and it's got a beautiful setting and it's got opportunities, and then you've got the people, what skills do they bring, and then the community, and then you've got your markets, and it's almost layering on and just growing and utilizing all the different factors and making something great. And I honestly just absolutely love it.
You can absolutely hear the passion in your voice, just as you were talking about the land. I still say I've been lucky enough to work in some incredible places, and in Scotland we are so lucky to be surrounded by so much beauty. But one of the things I always say to people is the top of Lindores Hill, of your hill at home, overlooking Newborough, which is random because Newborough is not that picturesque when you drive through it. But from above and just looking at all the hills in the background, it is my favorite office view and I absolutely love it. It's the one view that I always want to share with everybody else, and I want everyone to be able to enjoy alongside. But you touched a little bit, Anna, on other aspects of the business. So we kind of started off with the now is Lindores Equestrian, and that's developed. Tell us what else you've got on site, because there's quite a few other facets now, isn't there, to the business?
Yeah, so in 2014, Richard kind of came back from uni, and he was the one that had the concept of horse holidays, creating holiday houses and utilizing the equine market that we're already frequenting. And so the first kind of bank borrowing began, essentially, and the first business case started, and we both he got an SRDP grant, and that gets you, do you know what that does? It gives you confidence that actually there's a little bit of cushioning here. It's not such a big gamble. We've had written a business case and someone's approved it. So in 2014, we started kind of into the tourism market and building holiday houses. And I suppose we always just put yourself in what would the consumer want? And that's how your briefs to the architects always kind of start. And how do we cater for the different markets? So whether it's accessibility, whether it's families, multi-generational, whether it's dog owners, whether it's a little baby kid, like what do they need and what do they want? So the houses are really designed to cater for all requirements. And then you want to go on holiday, but you want to stay in somewhere nicer than your home. So in terms of that then drives the spec. And it's like, okay, well, let's not do budget. Let's really go to quality products and quality finishes so that they're timeless. So we've actually built houses and we've kind of stayed away from kind of the timber kind of pods, do you know? That's not really the market we're in. We've kind of gone for houses. And hopefully that'll then last the length of time. And that quality will mean it's going to kind of continue. So over the years, we've then created the Glass House, which has just been on TV recently. So if you want to have a look at that, it's on Scotland's Greatest Escape. And it's beautiful. So again, the architects designed that around a Scottish longhouse. We've got the Arches, which is a couple's retreat, which is very, very romantic. So we did a bespoke sauna. We've got double-ended baths, double showers. It's a really spacious area with beautiful kind of window seats and views. And then latterly we've renovated the West Cottage, and it's really bold. It all started with a kind of a bright green kitchen, grass green, and it makes you smile. Because why not? You probably wouldn't do it in your home, but when you go on holiday, why not do something fun? And so I think we've got quite a quirky brand. We like to have a bit of charm. We like to kind of do things a little bit differently and go the extra mile. So the holiday houses kind of were doing really well, but then actually the market's moving, and I don't want to just be a holiday house with a hot tub. That just doesn't cut it for me. It's all about the experience, and it's actually about what's the customer feeling and what are they doing when they're here. And so then we kind of moved and progressed. Then when COVID hit, there was a chef, Andrew Wilkie, that lost his wedding market overnight, and he asked if he could feed the guests in the holiday houses. And to this day now, we have restaurant standard 3-course meals that arrive, and they're actually, the kind of customers arrive, these are in the fridge when they for them to enjoy. And these supper boxes are so tasty, but that relationship with the chef kick-started conversations. What else can we do? How can we use our own lamb that we're producing on the farm? And how can we collaborate with more people? So in 2021, the most photographed part of the farm, which I think we photographed many times, is up at the top of the hill overlooking the River Tay. So it's the longest river in Scotland, and it's stunning, and it's ever changing throughout the seasons. So we created this kind of like bespoke cabin, and we call it the Hide, and it's got one arm for a sommelier and one arm for a chef. And I'm not going to tell you I had a very strict business plan when we created this Hide. It was a bit woolly. We're like, we're going to make it work. Let's just go with it. And then again, just talking to people and being open to ideas and building up strong relationships with like our partners. So for example, Lindores Abbey Distillery next door, we've got huge collaborations with them, and we're really trying to be circular and be local and be sustainable to pass this farm on to future generations. So Lindores Abbey Distillery use our malting barley to produce their whiskey, and it was reputed, it was the first place that whiskey was really distilled ever in the world in 1494 by the monks. And it's a fantastic site, and it was brought back to life in 2017. And so the barley that we're growing on the farm, what we're doing is we're getting it back from the distillery as a byproduct called draff, and we're feeding that to our cows and sheep. And we're then using the own lamb from the farm in the Hide for kind of lunch experiences. And so Lindores Abbey Distillery will come and they'll do drink experiences in the Hide as part of a kind of luncheon with a private chef. And we've created this more immersive experience when you can come to stay on holiday, or you just visit for lunch, to be honest, and you can have a true farm to fork and a true seed to sip experience. And it's all kind of happening from like a 1 mile radius. I'm not aware of many other places that are doing it. They're doing farm to fork or they're doing seed to sip, but I'm not aware of too many places that do both. And again, it's all coming back to the soil. It all starts from the very beginning. The core purpose is like the farm, and it'll never ever change. So although we go off and do these fantastic enterprises, we will always farm, and we'll always have that as the backbone of the business. So yeah, we've obviously built Lindores Equestrian up, and we've kind of created lovely luxury holiday houses, but we're trying to create these experiences where people can be more immersive and have lunch on site, eating our local food and drink.
It is incredible. I'm so drawn in by the passion that you have, and it is just amazing. And it really is an experience. Like, you've even had the bagpipes up, haven't you, playing, like piping people into lunch. It just goes to show that it is all about the customer experience. If that's what the customer wants, not a problem. We will bring a piper, and it is incredible, and it is about that whole, it is an experience, you're right, but I think it's an experience for whether you're there is with the holiday home, which I've been lucky enough to stay in, or whether you're there is with your horse, or whether, like you say, you just want to pop in for a pre-arranged lunch. It's so unique, isn't it?
And actually, one of the big things that I think is important is being accessible. And that's not just meaning in terms of ability, but that's meaning financially. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the way that we build our products and packages is to be accessible to all. So at a very basic level, if you're a horse rider, you can come here for £15 and you can experience Lindores, or you can come for 4 days. You could stay in a luxury lodge. You could do everything you want, and your price point will increase, but you still can have experience Lindores. And we've kind of replicated that accessibility in the Hyde. So it's an exclusive hire venue that guests can hire if they're not staying here or not. But if they are staying here, they'll also get it kind of from a discounted rate. So they can come and they can bring their own food and drink. So they can create their own experience, and it's more accessible because they're not having to pay for, our food or our chefs. And essentially, we had guests 2 days ago that did that, and they've booked for next weekend, and they're the loveliest people from Clooney. And it just works for them because they just wanted the space and they wanted to create their own menu. But then at the same time, we've now entered into this new market called travel trade, and we're really probably in the last year and a half really working a lot more closely with them. So these are high net worth individuals from other countries, generally like America or the Netherlands or Japan, and they are coming on holiday to Scotland for a true, authentic and memorable experience. And they have an agent on the ground here that's curated a whole week's itinerary, and the Hyde is one lunch within that expansive itinerary. So these clientele, they are now coming to our wee farm in Fife, and they are paying kind of more top dollar end. And that's, they've got the budget and they're looking for something unique. So they want to meet the farmer, they're wanting to see the Highland cows. So we're adding on farm tours to their experiences. They're all for the bagpipes. They want the fine cuts of meat. They want the seafood from Fife. They want the private chef who is then explaining about the provenance of the food. They're wanting the paired wines and whiskies, and they just soak it up. They absolutely love it. And we are bursting with pride because these people have come from all over the world. They've eaten and stayed in the best restaurants, and they think the Lindores is great. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually thrive off it. And I think sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. We think, oh gosh, how can we cater for these people? They're probably quite demanding. But actually, we're just all ourselves. The chefs themselves, the sommeliers are themselves. And they're just talking about our local culture, our area, our kind of, our lives. And it's authentic. And I think this kind of proposition, this experience that we're offering, I don't think many people know we're doing it. and it's happening in the background. And yeah, it's just what it does. It's allowing us to basically employ more people in the local area and create more jobs and encourage spend into Fife and really do some good and showcase the great culture and space and food and drink and countryside and people that we have here in our local area.
Do you and Richard ever sit in the kitchen at night and just look at yourselves and go, oh my God, like what what have we done? Like, because it is incredible. And all this is in 10 years. Well, in fact, most of it's actually a lot more recent, than that. But do you ever have a pinch me moment where like you're driving people to the top of the hill for the Scottish experience and there's bagpipes waiting at the top of your hill and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And so does Katie, our manager. Like, we're buzzing and we kind of pinch ourselves like, oh my gosh. I mean, we've got movie producers have just booked in to come here because they're doing some filming. And it's just the people that we're starting to meet it's fun, a really good fun place to work. And now having created a new office at the farm, this is a massive, massive milestone for our business.
I think one of my highlights talking about filming is the fact that some of Danny McCaskill's Wee Day Out got filmed at the farm and Mr. B's in there with his tractor.
I know, Mr. B, he featured a lot because he's so important to kind of the DNA of this place. And that's one thing I would say is like grab opportunities when you can and make the most of them. So that was Red Bull that came to film A Wee Day Out with Danny, and we got on really well with the production team at Cut Media. They're excellent, so professional, produced the most amazing footage to the point where then Danny came back with Dave Mackison and did more filming, and they raced Louisa Milne-Hume on her beautiful Palomino horse, and they jumped the cross-country jumps, bike v horse. And again, we ended up on the third largest biking website in the world. It's called Pink Bike or something. Our wee farm at Lindores. It's amazing the places you end up and the people you meet. So I just think we've got quite I don't know, we just sort of make the most of things, and team effort though. It takes a lot of people to make things happen.
Absolutely. I would love to finish with some quick fire questions. Okay, the quick fire, that's the clue in the name. So first thing that comes to your head, they're not hard, don't worry. Anna's face is looking slightly panicked now. What is the one thing you can't live without?
Oh, Richard.
Oh, that's nice. And what's your biggest achievement to date?
Oh, my children, probably.
Oh, they are really cool. I was actually chatting to your youngest, and he just makes me smile every time. He's a real mini Richard, isn't he? He's got that charismatic black DNA about him. He's amazing.
He's quite a character. Fun times ahead.
And finally, who would you have around your dinner table?
Oh gosh, I read autobiographies. I love entrepreneurs and businessmen and women. So, I don't know which one. One of them. Goodness me, there's so many. You totally put me on the spot. Oh, I'll just throw out Richard Branson. That's too stereotypical. Sorry.
He was in my dinner. I would love to spend some time with Richard Branson because even though it feels a bit stereotypical, what that man has created is quite something. So please may I be a fly on the wall if Richard Branson's coming, because I would love that conversation between you and Richard. That would be fabulous.
No, I don't. Oh gosh, any other scary questions?
No, that's the scary questions done. Just finally, where can people find out more about Lindores and Lindores Equestrian?
Well, we're on BBC iPlayer, which is quite cool. So if you go to Scotland's Greatest Escapes, episode 5 in foodie section, you can kind of watch us in action. But if you want to find out about Lindores Equestrian, we've got social media pages on Instagram and on Facebook, but the website is lindoresxc.co.uk. But we have another website. So for our holidays, you can go to just lindores.co.uk. Again, more social channels on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, do follow us and tag us because we're quite active. We try and post what we're up to and share people's content. because it's fun.
And there's always stuff going on at the farm, isn't there? Whether it's carving or lambing or new developments or new people, you know, like you say, new collaborations. It is amazing. But Anna, I want to say a huge thank you for joining us. And it's been an absolute pleasure just to hear that enthusiasm and that passion coming through on the podcast. And now we can say this is your first ever podcast, isn't it?
I know, my debut. Oh dear.
Thank you for joining us. And we do release a show each week. So if you like listening with Equiteam, please subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends about us, and give us a share on social media. And don't forget, you can join Equiteam by visiting equiteam.co.uk. And a very, very massive thank you from Lou and I for supporting our crazy concept. Actually, it was Lou's concept. I said no for about a year, actually, if I'm honest, about the confidence camp. So yeah, but a huge thank you for supporting that concept, because without the facility at Lindores, we wouldn't have, you know, got all the connections and the network that we've got. So it's a very integral part of what we do. Well, finally, thank you everyone for listening, and goodbye everyone, and thank you, Anna.
Thank you. That was been good fun. Love you lots.
Bye everyone.